Hey everyone, welcome back to Reformatted Mind. I'm Reformatted Dan, and this channel is all about helping people with ADHD live better, feel better, and finally start moving forward again. Today we're talking about something every ADHD brain struggles with, but almost nobody explains clearly. Why you can care deeply about something and still not be able to get yourself to do it. You know the feeling, wanting the outcome, wanting the progress, wanting the change, but when it's time to act, your brain just doesn't show up. And instead of understanding why, we blame ourselves. We start believing we're lazy or undisciplined or broken, when the real problem is something so much simpler and honestly a lot more human. If you've ever wondered, why can't I just do the thing? Or why motivation never seems to stick no matter how hard you try, this video is going to make a lot of things click into place. Let's get into it. If you're anything like me, you've probably gone researching for the secret to motivation more times than you can count. You know the feeling, you've got stuff you need to do, stuff that actually matters to you, but for whatever reason, you just don't. So you go looking for answers. You try habit stacking, you try morning routines, you watch those dopamine detox videos on YouTube where some dude tells you to throw your phone in a lake and journal with a candle. You tell yourself, this time it'll stick. And maybe for a day or two it kind of does, but then it slips, and you're back to square one. Staring at the same undone task with the same pit in your stomach, wondering what's wrong with you. And here's the problem. Most of us, especially if you've got ADHD, believe that there's a formula out there somewhere that will finally unlock motivation. Like if we just find the right system or strategy, it'll click. And we'll finally be able to get ourselves to do the stuff we keep avoiding. But here's what I've realized. That search can go on forever. Most of what's out there is either too rigid to be sustainable, too shallow to be effective, or takes more effort to maintain than just doing the damn thing in the first place. You can spend your whole life trying to make yourself want to do something you don't want to do, and you'll come up empty, over and over again. This took me a long time to accept, longer than I'd like to admit. I kept thinking, if I want something badly enough, I should be able to get myself to do the work for it. It made perfect sense in my head. If I want to be financially free or build a business or feel proud of myself, why wouldn't I be excited to do what it takes to get there? But that's not how it works, not for me. And if you're reading this, probably not for you either. Because the truth is, your brain's not wired to enjoy doing stuff it doesn't want to do, no matter how important the outcome is. You might want the results, you might even be desperate for them, but that doesn't mean your brain is going to line up emotionally with the process. There's this unspoken belief we carry around that says, if I just figure out the missing piece, I'll finally like doing the hard stuff. But what if that piece doesn't exist? What if you're not broken? What if you're not lazy? What if there's nothing to fix because the problem isn't a missing tactic? It's that we're expecting our brain to behave in a way it's just not designed to. Think about it. Your brain isn't chasing success. It's chasing dopamine. It's chasing relief. It's chasing comfort right now. And that's not failure. That's how it's supposed to work. Your brain is like a little kid at dinner. It wants dessert now, not after it eats all the steamed broccoli on its plate. Especially if that plate is piled high with the adult version of vegetables, tax forms, emails you've been avoiding, and tasks that feel like chewing on cardboard. And we keep thinking that if we just explain the long-term benefits well enough or use the right system, that kid will suddenly want the broccoli. But it won't, not ever. That's not how brains or kids work. The disconnect isn't about desire, it's about emotional wiring. And we fall into this mental loop thinking that if we could just find the right method, we could rewire ourselves to enjoy the struggle. And chasing that fantasy keeps you stuck. I wish I could tell you this realization came with trumpets or a lightning bolt, but it didn't. It was more of a quiet, reluctant, oh yeah, that actually makes sense. And here it is. You can't trick your brain into loving steamed broccoli, but you can pour cheese sauce on it. In other words, find ways to make things emotionally easier. If motivation is about emotion and your brain is wired to resist discomfort, then the only sustainable path forward is to make the discomfort feel more livable. You don't need a better system. You don't need a new planner. You don't need to become some optimized version of yourself who jumps out of bed excited to deep clean your inbox. You just need to stop making life suck so much when you try to earn your happiness. Because let's be real, you're not going to enjoy every task. Some things are just vegetables. But what if you didn't sit there forcing them down dry, cold, and raw? What if you made the process feel just enjoyable enough to not dread it? That's where things started to shift for me. Not because I found the answer, but because I stopped looking for one. I started asking different questions. What would make this feel a little less awful? How can I make this easier on myself emotionally? What would help me get through this instead of fight myself the whole way? Sometimes that meant asking for help or even just someone to sit with me. Sometimes it means just doing one small thing per day instead of all at once. But more importantly, sometimes it means I don't even have to do the thing. I could just let it go, and no one's going to die. You can't keep chasing motivation like it's something you'll finally unlock once you've done enough, fixed enough, or found the right trick. You can't keep waiting to feel good until everything's finished, because there will always be more. More tasks, more loose ends, more things you should have done yesterday. And if the only time you're allowed to feel proud, relaxed, or satisfied is when everything's done, you'll never feel any of those things. Here's the part that finally brought me peace. The thing I wish someone had told me years ago. There is no system that will save you. No hack, no routine, no missing trick you just haven't found yet. You can't outsmart your wiring. You can't force your brain to run on motivation it doesn't produce. And you can't discipline yourself into becoming someone who suddenly enjoys doing things they've always struggled with. At some point, you have to stop searching for the magic solution and accept the truth. Your ADHD brain is always going to work the way it works, and that's not a failure. The day I finally accepted that, everything softened. Not because life got easier, but because I stopped fighting it. I stopped chasing systems I'd never stick to. I stopped pretending there was some perfect vision of me waiting at the end of a checklist I couldn't maintain. And in that space, that quiet acceptance, something unexpected happened. I finally had room to find what does work. Small wins, tiny progress, moments of relief I could create today, not someday. I slowed life down. I stopped living in the future. I started looking for satisfaction in things I could actually control, not in fantasies of who I thought I should be. And that shift, that gentle permission to stop chasing and start living, changed everything. It might not be the answer you were hoping to find, but honestly, letting go of the search is the thing that makes life feel lighter. Because if there is no secret formula, then you don't have to stop beating yourself up for not discovering it. And that alone can take more pressure off your chest than you realize. So take all that energy you've been pouring into fixing yourself and put it into what's right in front of you today. One small win, one less thing to dread, one breath of relief. You'll be amazed how quickly life starts to shift when you stop chasing the impossible and finally start working with the brain you actually have. I hope this video helped you or gave you something to think about, and I'd love to keep sharing more with you. Please take a second to like the video and subscribe. It really does help more people with ADHD find this channel and realize they're not alone. And if you've got a story or a question or even just a thought, share it in the comments. You never know how your words might help someone else see things in a new way. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you in the next one.